Istongo and Jokayadega. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Stonge sos.
All right. Hello. Okay. Then for two people, what do you say, or more? Two or more.
Eston Jokayadega.
There you go. There you go. That's it right there. So, like I said, we're kind of reviewing. And today, Sunday's going to be Mother's Day. How many mothers do I have? Cool. I'm sure there's a lot of mothers. And I had written a poem, but they didn't download it for me. My daughter sent it to me a couple of years ago, but I did it in Mvskoke. And I'll do that. Yeah, I did it. It's like how hard it is to be a mother living in a small world. And she meant the kids. To wake up every morning and to meet up with little kids. And it seems like your world is really small, you know. And it was about that. And she wrote it to me here a couple of years ago. She said, I know this is what you went through when you was our mother, you know, because they're basically all 4 years apart, anywhere from 3 to 4 years apart. We planned them like that to, you know, have them, we wanted them to be babies for a while, just to be a baby, you know, and so we did it like that. So anyway, you know, the first one, my husband said, let's just let her be a baby for a while. So then, you know, the second one came along, let her be a baby for a while. And then the third one came along and, you know, but they were all in that order to where they were old enough to be, you know, they got to be babies. They got to be number one. And they also, but as they came, they got to play with each other as they got older. Mm-hmm. They were real close and they're still close now. So anyway, she told me, she said, she said, I think I know what you went through, Mom, because she has two of her own. And she said, you know, that totally depends on you and how hard it is, you know. And I sent it, but they didn't get to download it. So, but as soon as we get back, I'll let y'all, you know, because every day is Mother's Day for me. It ain't just a special day, you know, it's just every day for me. And, you know, just here, and I'm a grandma every day. I just had my granddaughter that just graduated college, you know, texted me, Grandma, how do I do this? Grandma, how do I do that? Grandma, you know, and it's always grandma. And now I'm finding out, you know, my mom used to say that a woman was the backbone of the family. She's the backbone of the family. And I used to think, you know, to be backbone, you know, and it is. It is, you are the backbone of the family, you know, and then here I am. I'm still, even though my daughter, they all have kids, I'm still the backbone of my grandkids, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, you know, but she wrote me this little thing here a couple years ago, and I will put it on there. But and it's done in Mvskoke. Okay, this is a greeting because this weekend I'm sure everybody will try to get along, try to be with somebody. I know, because you'll have your kids around, you'll have them around. This is what you're going to use now. I don't want, and then that other one that we was doing, I got them totally translated word for word. I got through working on that. And I'm not done. I'm gonna have to take it home. Okay, you know, you don't have to say he's Jay, but when me and my brother see each other, we just say Stongo. He'll say, how are you? Stongo. And see, me and my brother still speaking the language too. You know, we still speak. And I'll say, and he said, and I'll say, Chinda. How about you, Jinda? Now listen to my tone. Listen to my tone. It's Dongo or Dongo. Chinda, stukesos. And this is true for a lot of people. Chihijaga, chihijaya, chihijaya, hinkdos. It's good that I've seen you. It's good that I've seen you because sometimes we don't see each other in a long time. Jimio, you too. Tihijiga, ufunni. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Mondos, that's true. You know, the tone, for some of you that I've heard speak, you know, I couldn't tell that you was a non-speaker, that you started out as a non-speaker, because I hear that tone. And tone has everything to do with the language. Because you know, if I say Jimio, see, I can't even say that without a tone. Without a tone, Jimio. That just sounds like you're reading it. But for us, I can read this, but for us, this is every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day speaking. And we use this a lot. Chimio. Chimio. Because when we come out of our office, we'll say igiri stochi, especially like today on Fridays and weekends coming up. Igiri stochi. We'll say chimio.
Chimio.
Chimio. See? We haven't seen each other in a long time. Tihijiga hofonni. We haven't seen each other in a long time. That's true. We don't say mondos. We say mondos. Mondos, that's true. Y'all turn y'all body on? Okay. How is the family or how is the rest? You know, it's just not about that part. About doggy gongon fulla. Hear that talk? About doggy gongon fulla. And this is where when you understand, this will come with it. About doggy gongon fulla. How's the family? How's the rest? They're okay. Gongon fullis. Yours and yours. And you know, that's just like saying, how is your family? Oh, they're good. And how about yours? That's just like it is in English, but it's done in Mvskoke. And but you know, this is where Chinasta. This is greeting to a visitor. Ajibas, come in. Legibus, hear my tone. Ajibas. You don't walk to the door and say Ajibas. With no emotion. You don't just say Ajibas. You say Ajibas, like, come in. What a surprise. What a delight. You come to my door. You come in. You come to visit me. Ajibas, sit down. Legibus. Legibus means sit down. Doc legibus means have a seat. Doc legibus. And I always ask this, you know, you want something to drink? Because sometimes, you know, they'll come in and some people don't want to ask that they need a drink of water. Or they want something, you know, I always, you know, we always have something like coffee, you know. Not iskida, not iskida, chiachigo. See that question mark? Now listen to my tone. Not iskida, chiachigo. You want something to drink? I'm saying that you want something to drink, just like I would in English. I'm saying it in English with a question, just like I would in Mvskoke. Nakiskida chiachigo. I have coffee. Coffee. Oje dos. Coffee. Oje dos. Umbichidua. Have you eaten? Talakacha. Did you make it back? And this is like they come and then they go back. Like my son-in-law come over last night, then he left and he come back. And I said, Talagino. Instead of asking him, I told him, I'll see you again. Chihijathis. Chihijathis. Come back again. Hadam talagachi. That's just saying you come visit again. But when we say hadam talagat G, you come back again. You come back again. And that's inviting them back. And so we have our own way of making people feel welcome, special, and loved. That's how we our own tones. This is where tones comes in, guys. Tones. Okay. Now look here. This is those buys. Jihijatis. Jihijatis. I will see you. It don't say, remember what I said? It don't say I might. I will. It don't say maybe. It says I will. Jihijatis. I will see. I will see you again. Hadam. Jihijatis. And this is to everyone, to all of you up there. Jihijatis. Hadam Jihijatis. We will see each other again. Hadam Jihijatis. I want y'all to listen to my accent and tone now. Let's see each other again. Okay. Look here. Listen. Dihijiatis. We will see each other again. We will see each other, but look here. Let's see each other again. Dihijagatis. There's that G and Ja here. And Ya and Ga here. Okay. Let's meet up again. This is like Hadam Difachagatis. In fact, I did that. Remember, I was telling you, you just sometimes meet up with people that you haven't seen. Me and my husband went somewhere last weekend, and here we go. We seen somebody that we knew. And that was a surprise. And it was in a totally off-the-wall place. And I pointed at him, and my husband just laughed, And he walked over there and talked to him. We did not expect to see that person in this place, especially for Shawnee. But they were from our area and they were up there. So it's kind of like that, just Difachagatis means just accidentally meeting up. Difachida means to meet up. Difachagatis means let's meet up again somewhere. Okay, just meet up again. Okay. Creeks has told. Remember now, when we speak, learning your sounds has everything to do with tones. Because if you didn't know how to read this, Laksha is a hoof. But if you say Laksha, that's a liar. But you got to know how to put these together. That's in your 3 and letter words. And then they'll say, okay, one question I know you have. How do we know it's short? How do we know it's long sound? It's learning what a foot and dead is. Okay? Right? You got to know what foot is, and you got to know what dead is in the language in order to know long or short sound. You have to know what husband is and yes is in order to know the sound. In order to know whether it's short or long. You have to know what Nagi and Nagi is. Learn those, and then you'll know whether it's short or long sound. That's how you find that out, and I've heard a lot of that. How do I know when it's long or short? When you learn the words. So that's what if you learn foot and dead, you'll know which one to use. Okay, you'll know which one to use. If you learn hoof and liar, the word, you'll know which one it is. Okay, you'll know which short and long. Okay, look here. This is duffel. A grasshopper is duffel. It's spelled with duff. Hear it? Duffel, duffel. But if I use the R, it would be duffel. And that's not right. See, that's not the right enunciation for grasshopper. Duffel, duffel. It would have to be duffel. And that's right. Duffel. See how that changes here? Duffel for a long sound, but duffel for the right sound, which is grasshopper. But if we look here, coffee, okay, is pronounced coffee. But if I use the here, it would be guffy. And that's not right, okay? Guffy. So right here, but if you put a R, a long tail one, it would be guffy. Does that make sense to you? Is that letting you know how this sounds affects the word? It affects the word. It can be mispronounced. But just knowing those sounds, because you could put a here, but it would be guffy, and that ain't a word. But if you say coffee, the and hold it, it's coffee. It's Crinklish for coffee. Okay. Lord,
Mvhayv, I'm really thankful, for my grandma teaching me the language when they did, because sitting here now and trying to remember which is the long sound, the short sound, I don't have to learn that because I already know it. And I'm thinking if I had to try to learn it now, I'd be in sad shape. But I'm just thankful that I get to, at least now I can see the grammar part of it, which is something I had no clue about, and I'm still, it's confusing sometimes, but since I already know the like you were saying, duffel, I already knew that, but I didn't know if it was short or long. I don't know that, and but it's this is really a learning experience for me. And I appreciate it, Mvhayv.
That's my job. And my whole mission is, I told y'all one time, saddest day is when they go say there's no more speaking. And I hope I'm gone if I ever have to hear that. I hope I'm gone. But I don't know whether, how far it's gonna last, but that's my worst fear. And this helps the non-speakers here, because they could just learning, see, this is sounds. And when I stress sounds, so when this is there, they know that it's duffel instead of duffel. See, you can tell just learning that sound. It's you got the right enunciation. Coffee. Coffee. Because when you see this word, coffee, you're gonna know it's a long sound. Loja. Okay, here it is. If it was with a long and held, it'd be loja, and that's not loja. That ain't right. You say loja, ja. Hear that? The short blood sound of here, right here. Okay. Jaboja. Okay. My grandkids, they only know boja. And a little girl come over one day, and I noticed something about my grandkids that I didn't notice before, and they got a speech, a little bit after the visitor left. They had a little girl come over. And of course, she didn't know what boja was, but they were calling the grandpa boja. And she went, Buji. And my grandkids kind of just looked at each other and just kind of grinned, you know. They wanted to laugh at her, and I gave them this look, you know, I gave this look like, no, you don't do that. Well, anyway, and then the middle little girl, she said, Boja. And she said it like, Boja. She said, say it, Boja. And the little girl was just kind of looking at her, you know, and you know, she did the same thing I do. I saw something. She goes, look at my mouth. She goes, Boja. And my daughter was sitting over there and she was like, you know, she's grandma all over again. And she was teaching her well anyway, after, you know, the little girl left. I said, now listen, she was trying to say, Grandpa, because y'all were in the language, and I said, don't you ever laugh at her. Or, you know, and I said, Melena, you did good by just telling her, oh, job. I said, you didn't say, you're saying it wrong and giggling at her. I said, you just showed her how to say it. And I said, that's good, you know. But I said, don't ever laugh at anybody like that. They were kind of, but they gave each other this look, and that's what I didn't like. You know,
Excuse me, Mvhayv.
uh,
There's some open mics and we're getting an echo and it's hard to hear the tone and the sounds.
y'all need to turn can y'all mute yourself, guys? Can somebody mute? Okay, Mado. Okay, so Loja. But if it was Loja, that's not right. It'd be Loja. Hear that? And ah. See the V, the and then the ah. Okay, look here. E. The letter E is Gaba. Listen, Gaba. It's long, Gaba. But if we say Gaba, that's not a word, you know, that's not a word. So we say Gaba. Waga. Waga. It's a ah, long and drawn out. Adami. Listen, Adami. And if you say it to your son, you know, you may not realize it, but you'll hear that tone in your just saying it. Adami. Adami. You hear your tone. And once you get these sounds down, you're going to be surprised at what your tone's going to be. And you may even giggle at yourself because, you know, my mother, she used to say, Dogas, Dogas. And she'd say it in a way, you know, she had that tone. Dogas, Dogas means now, now. So when my husband was driving, she was the backseat driver. So she'd tell him when to go. She goes, now go, you know, she'd say, Dogas, Dogas, you know. And he still says that now, you know, he'll say, Dogas. And he's, you know, he had a lot of good memories of my mother, you know, because she was with us all the time. You know, of course, you know, me and my husband lived down there, she lived in town, but she lived with us like we kept her for about 13 years before she finally got her own home. And then we let her, you know, and she would come over, and then my husband would go down there and just stay with her. Sometimes he'd go down there and sit with her from evening till dark, just visiting with her. And so when she would go with us, you know, she'd be the backseat driver. She'd say, Douglas, and he'd kind of look over at me, you know, and say, you know, she's backseat driving, but he never said anything to her, you know, never. Okay, ayo, look at that. Ayo, it ain't, but if it was if you put a sound, it'd be ayo. Ayo. It's not, it's ayo, hawk. Yanasa, okay? Yanasa. Yanasa, but if you put, and these are all short sounds, short and blunt. But if you held it long, you would say Yanasa. And then it may sound just like it, but it's not the way it sounds. Yanasa. Okay? It would be Yanasa. Yanasa.
Mvhayv, could you explain one more time for me? Because I think I wrote it down someplace and Sijagodaron, Hobodundo. When do you use the letter V in the word, if it's a short sound or if it's a long sound?
Okay, the V is short and blunt, like, okay, like, duck, or, yanasha. It's short and blunt, it's got that, right here, like buffalo, yanasha, yanasha. Yanasha. And then, the ah, which is the A, is held longer, like gafi,
Okay.
ah, and like loja, hear that, ja, it's got that, loja, and that's turtle. But if you drew it out to use a ah there, you would say loja, and that ain't right, that's not so. That's where your tones and accent comes in. When you learn to start doing that, okay, like jaboja, my grandfather, listen now, jaboja, hear that ah. But if you say jaboja, that ain't right.
Mahaya, which as I know man Strovan, V usually get the Golondos and then the letter A. So sometimes I don't know when you, like you say, duffel, I didn't know if I should use the V or the A. I mean, I know the sound, but I didn't know if I should use that letter or letter V or letter A. I get confused with that, but okay, Mado.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, you still do too. Sometimes, some days I can just hear it right off. And some days I'm like, what do I hear? I can't hear this sound, and I'll ask my coworkers, what do you hear? And we'd be sitting in there talking about it or standing around talking, and we'd be in there going, saying a word over and over. And we're like, I hear this, and they'll say, I hear this, but I hear this, It's still confusing to us, but look at because if you say daf, that ain't right, okay? But if you say duffel, and when you look at your dictionary or look at the words, you'll start getting this, and this is where you start enunciating right. You'll start pronouncing right, like this adami. If you had a up there, it would be adami. But it's ada, okay? Now listen, ada. So you got a up there. And ayo is a hawk. Yanasa. Yanasa. Apple. Sada. It ain't sada, it's sada. And that's the thing, when you look in your book or in your paper, you see that B there, it's a automatically. So you go, you got it there. That's it right there. That's how you get the words. And it's an adjective, okay? It's an adjective. And the retention is what is hard to do. All your life you've been calling it an apple, all your life. Change to sada. Even if you're by yourself, and a lot of times just picking it up and saying sada. Because this right here goes to this right here. But when you feel it, this goes to here. And it's more like tangible. You see what I'm saying? Instead of just hearing it, when you touch it, it's like, thada. It's kind of like you're touching it and looking at it at the same time, and they connect. Okay, and you say sada. It's an apple. You'd be surprised at how you're going to remember that more just by doing that. Okay, peach, bagana, bagana. This is a hard one right here. Now listen, bagana. What do you hear? Bagana. I hear a and a ah and a na. Bagana. Bagana. Because I hear ba and a ga na. Bagana. And see, that's kind of hard to do right here. And this where we even as speakers. Now remember, we were speakers, not readers and writers. We had to learn all this, you know. So, you know, we're still learning. We're still having to sit there and go, and you know, we sat back there and each one of us is doing that. And God forbid for somebody to walk in while we're doing this. And you know, we be back there going, you know, and saying these words. And you know, if you you know, if you kind of I don't know, it's just people walk in, you shouldn't hear that. But we're back there saying all this, you know, doing all this stuff, and it's it's pretty colorful. And then right here, halbada, listen, halbada. That's another tricky one. Halbada, halbada, halbada. Because that anything, remember that li is halbada. Halbada. I think they're all B's. They're all I think. There you are. Halbada. Hear it? Halbada. It ain't halbada. It's halbada. So, you know, that's why halbada. Yeah. Today's gonna be one of those days. But have fun. I mean, you know, it can get boring, you know. This language can be boring. It can get a little bit. Okay. Okay, remember? Once you learn these words, that's when you know to use a shorty or holding the E. Okay. So ijo. What is that, short or long? Is it I or E? Ijo. I say it's like an E, like short. Ijo. Because if I use the long sound and held it, it will be ijo. Ijo. And that ain't right. It's ijo. Okay. Heart. Biggie. Biggie. I say that it's a long because it's not biggie. It's biggie. Big. And remember, this is in your two letter sounds. Biggie. Iwanwa. Iwanwa. I say that's long because you're going Iwanwa. But if it was short, you would say Iwanwa. And that's not a word, is it? Iwanwa. Like you know, ijo. But if you say Iwanwa, that's a long to me. Abissi. At abissi. 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 Abi. I say it's long. This is kind of tricky for me. Abissi. I say, do y'all hear long or short? Abissi. Here we go now. We're going to do what we do in our office. E or I. E or I. Abi. Is it Abissi? Abi. See, some of these are tricky now. Abi. Say it, don't you? Abissi. Because to me, the long right here is long. right here is long. And this is, I say short. See, yeah, and then this last part right here is long. Open right. Land. Igana. That's hell. Igana. Because if I did it in short, it would be ikana. And that's not right, so it would be igana. That's okay. Okay, here's her head. I say iga. I say that's short, iga. Because if I said it long, it would be igana. And it ain't right. Oh, iga. You can't say that. It's got to be iga. So it's short. Waga BC. Waga BC. I say it's short.
Kajokni.
Is it Gojogni? Gojogni, by the way, means short. Yeah, it's short. It's short. Because the last part is long. So it's short. Miski. I say it's short. I say it's a short sound for miski. Yeah. I say this is a shorty and this is a longie. And we didn't know sounds. I just knew how to speak it. That's all I did. I knew how to speak it. But they, like Ella, like you said, you didn't know all this grammar stuff. You didn't know this long, short sounds. I didn't either. I just spoke it. But I remember I knew my husband's aunt. She knew my family before, and when I was like 2 or 3. I was like 2 or 3 years old. And she told my husband, which that's his aunt. She said, now you got you a speaker right here. She said, you better learn how to speak. And he doesn't know how to speak, but I'm okay with that, because my mom talked to him. And when she went with us everywhere, she told us stories. We just didn't have a time, we just didn't get together. She had always something to tell us, always. Like, they used to say this, Becky, you need to follow that. And I don't know where they come from, it just came up. She used to say, do this, And then sometimes if I mispronounced the word, she said, Moduis. I would, there were times I did mispronounce the word and she'd tell me or she'd tell me another word for that thing, for this certain thing that we were talking about. Here we go to that diphthong. I hate these. It's like we, because we get, and you can only use just certain times. They call it wewa. But our most common in our area is owa. But you can only use we with like we gewa, like a whale. We honija. We honija is like spring water. We si honichki. Y'all ever heard that word? Si honichki, Ella? Si honichki is like something different, kind of special.
Okay, hadamaga.
Si honichki. Like we.
Yeah, except I remember them saying inhonidzi. Isn't that about the same? Just a inhonidzi, yeah.
Si honitski is like something out of the ordinary. Like, my mom used to say, we honijados. She'd say that is a spring water, don't go around it because it's special. Si honitski. And she meant not manakakuleki, there's a wine, like something was in
I'm thinking like inhonitski.
Yeah, you can probably.
Because
it is.
Suppose you hung it, but Dembe na bogitongo was inhonitsi dos magagiro much more.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, a window. A hoagie means like in a wall. It's got an opening, a hoagie like this. It's got an opening there, like right here, like an opening. That's a hoagie. But when, that's how come they call a door a hoagie, because it's an opening. And a hoagie is a window like a small opening, a hoagie. So like, a hoagie means it says door, but actually literal translation is an opening. It's an opening. But to us, it's a door. Logi, deep. Oh, we logi. See, there we go. You can't say oh a logi. You say we logi, deep water or flooded water. We logi. And my mom used to talk about Hobithi Yahola. Hobithi. And she used to say, she said he would tell his mother, we logi hatkit adahandos ahuyibagits. We logi hatkit adibahandos ahuyibagits. He told his mom, he said, there's a deep white water coming, let's leave. But see, his mother didn't know. And she told my great grandmother that she said, I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know what he was talking about. But said he was adamant in leaving. We logi dadahandos ahuyi bagis. Junishki bagis. He told her, let's move. And she didn't know, but she was scared because he was an extraordinary person. Ubithi Yahola. And when I was in college, I had to write a 2,000-word essay, all in the Mvskoke language. And I did it. Guess who I did it over? Ubithi Yahola. And when I looked online for the info, there was probably a 10-word little thing about him, nothing more. Never could find it. So I took stories that my mother had told me about Hobithi and wrote a 2,000-word essay out of just little stories that I heard about him, about my mother, what she told, my grandmother, what she told me. And I made it. I made it. I have it. I have that. I still got my college paper that I wrote about Hobithi Yahola. That was my final, I had to have that in order to graduate. So I wrote it in the Mvskoke language. And I'm gonna tell you, it goes from the date to the end in the Mvskoke language. And that was it took me, and they give you time, because it's 1,000-word essay. They give you time, and I was working on it one night, and my husband comes in and he said, oh, he gets up and he said, what are you doing still up? I had papers wadded up. I wad them up, throw them down because I didn't feel like racing. My den looked like a sea of wadded up papers. He said, go to bed, give it a break. Finally, I wrote it. But then after I wrote it, I had typed it because one word messed that whole story up. One word. One word could mess the whole story up. So I had to rewrite, and I quit erasing. I just started wadding, throwing, and using paper. I had that den filled up with trash. Finally did it, So, he said, that's the only time you can use we, like we logi, we gewa. Okay. That's where that we comes in as a diphthong. Okay, logi, deep. Okay, we logi. And remember, a hoagie is just a hole in an opening. That's all it is an opening. It's more or less descriptive. It's just an opening. And we look at it as a door. All my life it's a door, a hoagie. But if you get down to using it, it's an opening in something, a hoagie. It's an opening. Okay. Here we go. This is where we're gonna start again, and I want y'all to listen now because in order to get the tone of a speaker, you have to get these sounds down, and then you'll get the tone. Ego, we started right here. Where did we, okay, we did that. Okay, look here, slippery elm, because we started with gajida. Gajida is something like this, and you break. Okay, but if you break a glass or a bowl, it's dagojida, even an egg, dagojida. But anything like this, a tree branch or anything in length is gajida. You break it in half, gajida, okay? But like glass or anything like that, it's dagojida. And even a chicken was, they'll say, she hatched her eggs, they'll say, dagojin. They'll say she cracked the eggs and they were chicks. But gajida is to break something long, okay? Now listen to slippery elm. Lubaga, hear it? Lubaga. But if it was lobaga, that's not right. Hear this sound right here, the ah and the If we said lubaga, lubaga, that ain't the word.
Maya, could you go back for just a minute when you were talking about the chicken and the eggs? I had not heard because I didn't, even though I've lived in Arizona a long time and knew about snakes and things like that. I knew that, you know, but we just never encountered or seen, you know, snakes with eggs, you know, a snake nest, I guess is what you call it. But I never seen one. And so we were in New Mexico, and this Elder Creek lady, when she was telling us that, be careful when y'all go up in those mountains or those cliffs, and you might find a snake laying on her eggs. And I thought, huh? You know, and but because it was springtime when we were there, and so and I remember her saying it though in Creek, you know, and I still, it kind of it surprised me because I had not heard that, and so on Margitsy.
Yeah, like what do you want translated?
Like a jicto is laying on her eggs.
Jito tustagi slagi dos. You have to say slagi because she's sitting on it, and that's just how we say it. But if the snake hatched the egg, you would say jito, jito jugin, dagochtos, dagoch.
That one, that word. Uh-huh.
Like Tulosi, dagochtos. But
yeah,
it's to break too. See, to break. Dagojida is to break. But to me, it's more like to shatter. Because it takes a glass, like if you break a glass, you say dagochis. Falaskuji dagoches. Falaskuji is a glass. So you would say dagoches. And that's the same way with eggs, okay? Dagojida.
And so that's the word that lady used, you know, the way you're saying it, butskida, you know, and I just kind of like, huh, you know, I mean, because I had not heard that, and okay, Maro.
Does that answer your question, though? Does that clear? Does that help you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So see, like that, you know, we have. Remember, I said the intelligence of this language. You know, to break can be anything in English. To break a glass, to break a stick, to break, it's the same. But for Mvskoke, gajida is for something like this, like a yardstick. You can just take a yardstick and gajit, break it. But for glass, bowls, anything other than like this, dakjaki, it's dagoji, dagoji da. And you know, I used to drop glass. I don't know how many glasses I broke, but I say, chest. Say, I broke it, you know, chest. So it's that, and even eggs, it's dagoji da. Even a chicken hatching eggs is doloji de dagoja. See, that chicken has some chicks. Dagoji, dagoji, dagoji da. So if you look in your dictionary, I don't know. I think dagojida is in there. Dagojida and gajida. But you know, there's something about this, you know, even in dictionary, it's a little bit sometimes it's questionable, you know, how it explains things. And you know, like, you know what a midget is? They say ajagoji, isti ajagoji. Or even a little puppy that's naturally small, they'll say ifa ajagoji. Well, in that dictionary, it says mijoji. I never heard mijoji because ajagoji means midget, but it doesn't mean you don't use mijoji. You say ajagoji, ajagoji. And that's why I was saying, you know, this language kind of can be a little bit even more intelligent than I am. It's a lot more intelligent than what I have in my little brain, you know. So, okay. Lobaga. Yehitsa. Ishpashka. Ishpashka. It's a broom, but we call it bashka. Bashka. But see, but it's understood when we pronounce it bashka. Ishpashka. Ground. Igana. Now that's a long sound. Igana. It's ground. Inlukchi. Inlukchi means something that say how can I explain this? It has fruited. Inlukchi. Inlukchi. Hear that? Oh, inlukchi. That's why these sounds are important. Inlukchi. See, there's my tone. Inlukchi.
Mahaya, in that one also, that lady that I'm talking about, you know, and the snake, hadam, you know, like you're saying, in lukchi swaki swaki.
That he grew those
Mhm.
eggs.
Mhm.
This is like the inlukchi.
So how would you say the ending sound though? When you say in lukchi swakis, is that right? She's laying there, you know.
With what she grew.
Mm-hmm.
Inlukchi, like as in fruit, means like inlukchi means what that tree produced. So that what that snake inlukchi. That's
Because I think what she was trying to tell us was she could be laying there ready to have her eggs, and then she's already had them, and then she's laying on the eggs. So that's what she was always cautioning us about, you know, being in those cliffs.
Well, you know, to me, I'm deadly scared of snakes, so anything that's reptile. So a good snake is a dead snake to me, you know. So I don't like them, you know. And we do have some. We kind of live in a rocky place in where I live at. And one year we killed I think like 7 or 8 in one spot. 7 or 8 cottonmouths. And see, we got kids gather up and boy, when we started killing them, you know, because we was afraid they were going to kill our, you know, bite our little grandkids. But yeah, we had a lot there, and we had to put some stuff out to fight those. Okay, imabi. Imabi is a handle. Like isliga mabi. Isliga is a hole, like that you hold with. Imabi. That belongs to something, imabi. But mubby, when you add something mubby, like isliga or skifka mubby. Skifka is a shovel. So you would say skifka mubby, you're saying the shovel's handle. But if you say skifka imubby, you're saying that shovel's handle, okay? Imubby. There it is, isliga. Here's that diphthong. It's a isliga, garden hoe. Isliga. Isliga. That's a hoe. The last of the end, ishbogi, ishbogi. His neck, inokwa. Okay, this is where you go to pronouns. When you say his neck, inokwa. But if you say my neck, you say janokwa. Okay. Riding, ishtoka. Okay, long time ago. They did, we say hocheji, hochejida now, to ride. Long time ago, they called it ishtoka. Ishtoka. That's what they used to call it way back. And that's what my grandmother called it. She said, ishtoka. Ojiduis. She'd say, hoboyas. She'd say, there's a writing, but she was talking about old papers that she had in her trunk. She'd say, hoboyas. She'd tell me to go get it. You know, she'd say, ishtoka, ishtoka. A pencil, ishatka. Okay. We call a pencil now horchechka, but this an ishatka is like a stick that you mark on the ground, but ishatka don't know. That is something that you mark like on the ground to mark something, or even to measure board. You mark it. It's a market, okay? Ishatka. But it's calling it a pen, which you do use a pencil or a pen to mark things, but that's what ishatka is, to mark things with. And we call a pencil now ishorchechka, ishorchechka. But then back then, ishatka was like even a stick, you know, because when we played ball, like when we played man and woman stick ball, they had somebody with a stick out there, and when somebody scored, she'd go mark it. They'd say shot us, you know, shot us. And we would, they would mark that score down on the ground. That's how they kept scoring. A comb, ishboga. Okay, a comb we call now gashka, gashka, ishkashka. Ishboga is like ishboga. Ishboga means to get rid of. And I think it was more like for lice. Ishboga, like it got rid of them when you combed it out. Okay, ishboga, because ishboga means to get rid of. But ishkashka is to comb your hair with. Okay, so a comb, see, there's different. This is the old. They're using old language here, what they used. Ishboga means to get rid of. So when they say comb, they meant ishboga, to get rid of. I think they were saying to get rid of something in their hair. To me, I mean, that's just my own interpretation. But I think,
Maya, the dictionary says that's louse comb.
okay, see, here we go. Here we go. And ishkashka is a comb, in it? It's like comb your hair with, yeah. And so, a rib, indala, listen. If it had a in that da, it would be indala, indala. It ain't. It's indala. Indala is a rib. And you know, I got a grandson graduating tonight. So when this class is over, I'm gonna run home and, you know, go to my, because I just had a granddaughter graduate college, and she was highly decorated. I was really proud of her. She graduated with 5 cords. As you can get, 5 cords, 3 medals, 2 pins, a cake, and she was highly decorated when she graduated. And she wants to be a psychologist. And I said, I don't know about that, because you know where your family comes from. She wants to be a psychiatrist. So this is what we You know, and,
Mvhayv, Oklahoma, bukod ako ba nagahandon, ay bahanes hayawan.
oh, well,
Allegedly handon magaton. Muan,
you just think,
hadang din po na yade sa man. Mado,
nga, Jimmy-o, Jimmy-o,
Happy Mother's Day.
Jimmy-o.
Itski, avatskida nitta.
Yeah, and we also say, Ichki, I thought Quichkanita, I thought Quichkanita,
I think, yeah, Mado.
Jimmy-o, Mado. To die, Ilida. To die, Ilida. I gotta check her. Aboka Ojes, go ahead, Mvskoke Imbonaga. Imbonaga, Obonaga. Haki Idalwadua. Athaka Onaga. Ahaga. Istuit in Magitska. Athaka. Imunga Ojiko. Uboko, Mvskoke Ubonaga. Ubonaga Haki. Haki Idalwadua. Mvskoke, is that what you're trying to say, Mvskoke? Thor, or
Yeah, Ihe, well, what I'm trying to ask is if the Mvskoke language is like white language with where the word does not always, where the word can sound differently even though it's spelled the same. Well, particularly with E, you don't know by looking at it how it sounds all the time.
well, no, but it sure ain't English. It ain't like Steheki Bonaga for one thing, you know.
Well, I mean, sometimes the E is long and sometimes it's short and you really don't know.
That's what I was telling them earlier. I said, you have to learn the word first before you know that it's a long or short sound. And that's where the problem is right here. See, we don't know, but see, that's how I'm going through this because I'm showing them which one is short, which one, and they should know like this, and Ilida. Ilida is to die. But Ilida is to die, but Ili is dead. Ilida is to die. Because why is it? It's infinitive. Itia. Ili means dead. But I'm going to start back over this, and I like that other paper that I got. I said I got each word. Each word saying what it is. It's translated. Like if when I said Arami Fajungas. Arami Fajungas. Arami is car, okay? Fajungas means to climb upon. I got each word translated into what it is, okay? So, but we'll finish this up here. See, look, Falasco is a bottle, but there's different bottles. Falasco. Yeah, we had a man named Falasco in our town. He was a man. His name was Bottle. So see, I'm going to explain all this. Like once you learn the word, you have to learn the word to get the sound. Okay, and that's why we're kind of going over this because this is nothing new to me. I've known this all my life, but to you know, and to do it like this, it's an eye opener for me too. You know, I'm like, you know. So, but I knew every one of these words growing up. You know, I've used every one of these words. I've used probably every one of these words. But to do it like this, I'm just like Thor here. I'm kind of figuring it out myself because I know I've probably used every one of these words and still do probably. Not in this, like to run, this is the only time I use it when I'm in class to explain that it's a finitive verb. But I don't, you know, like malumha. I've used that so many times with my kids. You know, they'll have a button missing and I'll say, hey, malumha, you missed your job. Did you take that button off? You know, I've learned, in Modisa, this is another one. And to me, this is not a jug, Modisa. It's one of those big pots that stands about like this and about like we put softy in. That's a Modisa. But it's called the jug. I don't know what else it could be called, actually. So this is, you know, it's kind of like, you know, and to grow, mahida. Mahida is to grow tall to me. Here it says to grow, hondida, because it's saying that's a plant, hondida, but to grow as a human, there is no deal to grow. It's just getting older, ajulida. Ain't that confusing? That's confusing, isn't it? It's confusing to me.
Monks.
Is it not to you? To
No.
me, it is because, see, I've never used mahida to grow in my language. We didn't use that. We didn't use it. We didn't say, we say mahidoschi ajulibat. She's getting tall as she gets older, but not just mahida to grow. Or they'll say mahi hagitos. But you can use that for a flower too. That flower's getting tall. It's just different ways. And to me, that's like, I've never used mahida to grow. You know, I've never used it. So this is an eye opener for me too, guys. I'm kind of learning as I go along too. And like gobler around it, no wolfy. No wolf dead does my God, they say make a fist. But I've never heard global around it. They say balukshot. Balukshi is round. See, there's that difference. And Nogufti means like make a fist. That was all that's how I know it. You know, Jingi Noguf dead just make a fist with your hand. But gobler, Balukshidos, the land is round. So see, this is new to me too. I mean, I've never used it like this, you know. Because I speak different, I guess, you know. But anyway, it's the clock is past 5. So Mandin Jihitagahe in Haridishka, Manjihitagahes. Manjihitche, Hana not 50 years. Then we'll learn some more, I guess. Oh, I know. Mado gets again a yibes. I'm gonna say Mado and leave.
Happy Mother's
No.
Day.
Mother's Day, Itski, Asakwitzkanita, Heathen Orchid, Bidagi, Naktuma Hiduacha, Hitaguro. These kids sometimes don't even know how special women are. So y'all very special. Toma Hiduachis.
So are you.
Mado, Engachi, the got this.
You're the mother of the language. The heart and the mother of the language.
Well,
That's you.
I hope so. I've been
Sure.
speaking this since I had learned to talk. My mom said you were speaking when I would answer the phone in Mvskoke. And I was probably, when you know how a baby starts talking? That's when I started speaking the language.
Wow.
But it ain't what my knowledge is. It was my way of life. It was my life. I didn't think I was supposed to speak another. It was my life. I didn't have to learn it. It was a privilege to speak it right now. It's a privilege. But I didn't have to learn it. It was the way my life went. It was my life. The language was my life. So y'all guys, y'all have a good Mother's Day. And just if y'all have a mother, honor them. Honor them.
And
Yes.
homeless.